let's train how to shoot and shoot the right things, i.e. shoot, no shoot. So this is one thing that I think gets misunderstood fucking beyond belief in the training world is like shoot, no shoot, right? And however guys train that, where typically they won't do it on photographic targets, right? And I don't even think that's the way, right? So in terms of getting guys, so Ben, I'll put this one out to you because you shot the stage before. I think it was the
discrimination exercise,
like a discrimination exercise where I'll set up a stage for guys to train on all day when it's disconnected training. They'll get plenty of runs on it. We'll shoot it as a class, talk about movement, you know, tie some skills together. And then once everyone's running it a bunch of times, you know, throughout the day, I'll change all the targets to discrimination targets, right? Where I'll spray paint discrimination targets on top of USPSA targets, cut them out. So you don't really see the whole things, but it adds an element. And what you'll see, guys are familiar where all the targets are, but what you see that due to their times is like quintuple on a 12-second stage. It'll take them over a minute to go through it, right? And it's very interesting when you pose that, like, why does that happen? As soon as you introduce, you know, hey, you have to discriminate, right? And to me, the answer isn't shooting more discrimination drills or cognitive type drills like the numbers. I'm going to call it a number and then you shoot this number. That shit doesn't work. It's never worked. The best way to train at this is you have to make it so the shooting just runs in the background, right? If you're putting like any active thought into making that shot, the time, like the length of time it takes you to make that shot, if you're concerned about accuracy, just because like,
yeah, well, you think if you're doing it, if what you're saying, like if you're actively thinking about making the shot, then there's two completely disparate thought processes. Like, I'm looking to find, is this a shoot target? Yes, that thought process stops. Okay, now I have to shoot the target. Another, yeah, I agree with you. I'm just saying it in a different way. It's like, if you're running, if the shooting isn't running in the background, you're switching programs back and forth, and the lag is fucking huge. There's a huge lag time.
Yeah. I mean,
I also think personally, I don't think no matter what you do on the training side, it's really hard to replicate what it looks like and how to see, and how sometimes how easy or sometimes how hard it is to see a shoot or no shoot, a threat or non-threat. Like I think it's you can do the best you can, but I still think it's really difficult to get that one point across. That's kind of an experiential thing.
I mean, what do you think of that drill when you ran it, Ben?
All right, so for people who don't know quite what we're talking about, just imagine a USPSA stage with just paper targets, and then maybe you walk through, maybe you don't, but you know that you have a stage there. And then instead of it just being USPSA targets, it's a photograph of a person, could be anything. And maybe you shoot the target and maybe you don't, and you just have to go through the stage and at least look at every target. Is that about right, Matt?
Yeah.
And you saw like a lot of guys who weren't very experienced tripled the time that it would be if they just went through there and shot everything.
Yeah, I mean, you see guys that are running that stage, and the stage is really about a 10 to 12 second stage. Good times for the class were 15, 16, 17, 18. But then when you do this, you've got 50 plus seconds to run that same stage. And
so I liked it as a drill, and I will say my thoughts are the same as yours, where it's just I don't have to think about shooting it all. So I just go there and I look at it and decide if I'm going to shoot it or not. So that was pretty easy. The only thing I had to actively think about was to make sure I looked where I wanted the bullets to go. Because if you're looking at people's hands, you know, you might just put bullets on guns or something.
Yeah. I think that's what you see a lot of, right, is photographic target guys key in, right? It's two-dimensional. They have to read the target, decide what they're going to shoot, and they key in on the gun, right, that's maybe down by the hip, and then that becomes the focus. And it proves the concept, right? For better or worse, the bullets go where you look. They're staring at the gun, and then the bullets go around the gun. You see that more times than not. So I think like the goal in all that, you just need to focus very heavily on the shooting piece of it. Lucas puts a good one in here. What people need is a concept or expectation of how they split their time between shooting training and tactics training. And this is one that I think LE guys get wrong all the time, where everything is focused on the tactics. Right?
Even because you don't score that. There's no score and there's no shot timer.
No, but they can score it, right? They choose not to because, oh, well, we're doing the tactics piece of it. And I think the question you've got to ask, like, is the shooting developed to a level where now you're getting the most out of the tactics?
Yeah. I think that's the biggest drawback is you don't have shooting skills that can support tactical training. And it's like, then you, like you said, you're switching back and forth from do I shoot, don't I shoot, how do I shoot, or switching programs from discrimination to shooting, and it's because the foundational skills aren't exercised enough.